Morning Primer, picking up where Mindset and Motivation Monday left off. No hype, just strategy, mindset, and direction from KGCI, Real Estate on Air.
Welcome to the Real Estate Survival Guide, the show that teaches realtors how to create a thriving real estate business.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Hope you're doing well. Excited to have you back and do one more episode here talking about the amazing story of the Philadelphia Eagles as they won the Super Bowl now just over a month ago, as they won the Super Bowl 40-22 against the Kansas City Chiefs on February 9th. And I want to share a story with you today about Jalen Hurts and how he was motivated by the loss a couple years ago in the Super Bowl to that very same Chiefs team. You might have seen me post about this on social media, but I wanted to share it here as well. And so here's the deal. Just like the last episode, this is about something bigger than football. Yes, I'm excited. I'm an Eagles fan. I'm super proud of Jalen Hurts, and as I've watched him grow, how incredibly well-spoken he is and how he's just basically the definition of a leader. But it's more than that too. Today, I want to talk about mindset, resilience, and really about how the most painful moments in life and in our business can become the very thing that drives us to be great. So as we talk about Jalen Hurts, let's bring it back to the trauma. I feel like, maybe Jalen Hurts is a better leader than me because I don't like talking about that story, but we'll hear why it's good to talk about that heartbreak because, 2 years ago, he experienced one of the toughest moments of his career, Super Bowl 57. Philadelphia Eagles were this close to a championship, only to lose in heartbreaking fashion to the Kansas City Chiefs. Most people, like myself, right, would want to forget that moment, but Jalen Hurts didn't. In fact, he did basically the opposite. He made that worst moment his phone lock screen. And if you search, right, you're listening to this on an audio platform, right, but you can go and search Jalen Hurts lock screen on Google, you'll see it. One of the funniest parts, too, was he said he was going to beat the behind of his teammate that posted that because it wasn't supposed to get out. It was on one of the players' stories at the last, maybe not this past offseason, the offseason before, someone posted a story and it had Jalen Hurts was on his phone and it had the lock screen. So, but here's the deal. Jalen Hurts made that worst moment his lock screen. Every single day, dozens of times, if not hundreds, he saw that image of himself walking off the field, surrounded by that Chiefs red and gold confetti. But why? He wasn't running from failure, and here's what I want you guys to learn. He was using it. Fast forward 728 days, he got asked about it so many times, right? But it changed. Not just the lock screen, not just the final score, his legacy. I want to dive a little deeper into the story and what you can learn from it. Right, so we'll rewind really quick. February 12th, 2023, Super Bowl 57. Game was a battle. Both teams very close. Jalen Hurts was actually the best player in the game, but it didn't matter. He played his heart out. He had one of the best performances of his career. It wasn't enough. Eagles lose to the Chiefs 35-38. And then that moment, right? Red, gold, yellow confetti raining down. Not celebration for the Eagles, but as a painful reminder of what slipped through their fingers. Jalen Hurts walked off the field, defeated. His shoulders were heavy, right? It's definitely a very frustrating photo to look at, I'm sure. Now, how do most people handle failure, right? A lot of us, sometimes myself included, we want to avoid it. We want to move on. We want to sweep it under the rug and not deal with it or deal with, things that need to be talked about. But Jalen Hurts didn't bury it. In fact, he embraced it. Instead of erasing the memory, he did something radical, okay? And we talked about it already. He took that photo of himself walking off the field and the confetti, not for him and the Eagles, but in a losing fashion, and he made it his lock screen. So every single day, he would pick it up and see it. And we all do it. Dozens or hundreds of times a day, he would see that image. Not as a reminder of failure, though. And here's what I want you guys to get out of this. It's not just a reminder of what he didn't do, but as fuel to get better. Let's pause there. How many of us want to be reminded of our worst moment every single day. Probably not many. I certainly don't. And I'm learning in this to embrace the failure, right? That's the difference between someone who lets failure define them or lets failure drive them. What are you in your real estate business? What are you in your family, in your journey, in your faith, whatever you're doing? When you mess up, are you down? Do you let it define you? Or does it drive you to be better, right? Think about your family. Be a better dad. Be a better mom, right? In your real estate business or whatever it is you do. If you mess up something, do you let it define you or do you just let it help you improve, right? Jalen looked at that image and didn't necessarily see defeat, right? And he did, right? He saw a Super Bowl loss, but he saw unfinished business. He often would be quoted as saying that, it was just going to motivate him, right? He was telling himself the loss won't break me, it will build me, right? How do we handle it? How do you handle failure? Do you ignore it, run from it, or use it as motivation? Fast forward, and we all know, right? 728 days, February 9th, 2025, Super Bowl 59. The Eagles were back. Same team, right? Same Eagles, with new players and all that. We talked about some of those last week. But then guess who it is standing across the field? Same Kansas City Chiefs, same quarterback Patrick Mahomes, same stage. But this time the story was different, right? Definitely different. The Eagles dominated, right? Final score, Eagles 40, Chiefs 22. And this time when the confetti fell, it wasn't red and yellow and gold. It was green and white. He had led his team to victory. He was named Super Bowl MVP, and he let it motivate him. Before the game, a reporter asked him if the phone still had the same lock screen, and his response was legendary. The goal is to win. I don't need a screensaver to remind me of anything, but it's there. And then he said with a smile, let's see if it changes. And it did, right? It changed. Everything changed. Not just his lock screen, not just the final score. His legacy did, right? No matter what you say, any of you, and there's still doubters, what you say about Jalen Hurts, he is a Super Bowl champion and a Super Bowl MVP, right? Jalen didn't let that loss break him. He let it build him. He turned the disappointment into determination. And that's the message I want to say to you guys today. It's not about the loss. It's about how you respond. And so what's your version of that lock screen moment? What I found very interesting, honestly, I prepared for this. I made a post about this on social media. Weeks later, when you win the Super Bowl, you're on every night show and every interview for a few weeks, right? Probably well into even now in mid-March, right? He's actually said, which is funny, that he hasn't changed the lock screen yet. It still is him walking off to the red, yellow, gold Chiefs confetti of the loss, right? And I'm sure, and he said, I'm sure eventually it'll change. But he even said after winning the Super Bowl, he's kind of like, that's great. I'm excited. That was really fun. Let's do it again. So he's even using not only that loss from 2 years ago, but even the win now to motivate him. The losses, right? He didn't let it break him, and the win, he didn't let it, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just going to go relax on the couch. I won a Super Bowl. He is still motivated. He lets it all build him. He turns disappointment into determination. And so here's the deal. It's not about the wins, really, or the losses. It's not about that loss. It's about how you respond to it. And so I want to ask you, what's your version of the lock screen? Think about a setback, a failure, a disappointment you've experienced. Which one are you? Are you hiding from it? Are you letting it hold you back? Or are you using it as fuel to push you forward? Here's the truth. We all experience failure and we all experience wins as well, right? Some have more of one or the other, right? We lose deals. We have clients back out. We struggle in business, relationship, and life. We also win sometimes. We have closing. We have success. We make good money. But how do you respond to all of it? That's really what defines the future and your success going forward. Jalen, with that loss 2 years ago, showed us that in his most painful moment, it can become an incredibly powerful motivator if we choose not to run away, but to face those challenges head on. So, whatever setback you're dealing with right now, I want you to learn from this. Don't run from it. Let it push you forward. Let it motivate you. Let it drive you, because one day, like Jalen Hurts, you can look back and realize that the thing that once felt like your worst moment, your biggest defeat, was actually the beginning of your greatest success story and your greatest victory, right? So let's recap and close it up for the day, okay? Jalen Hurts didn't run from failure. He faced it every single day. He didn't hide. He used it as motivation to come back stronger, be a better player, be a better leader. And now he was the Super Bowl MVP. There's only been 59 Super Bowls, guys, right? I don't know how many of those players. I know Tom Brady's won a few, right? A few of those players have won multiples. Joe Montana. He's one of 50-something guys to be a Super Bowl MVP? One of 50-something guys ever in the world to accomplish it. And if we want to be great like this, if we want to be incredibly, successful, we need to challenge ourselves. What's that lock screen moment, right? Don't run from it. Let it motivate and fuel you. And if this episode speaks to you, I want to hear about it. I want to hear about that lock screen moment, right? Maybe post on social media, tag me, start a conversation, or shoot me a message. Again, final words as we close out. Your setbacks don't define you. How you respond does. And I want to see a lot of you win and absolutely crush it like Jalen Hurts did. Maybe that failure you had this week, this month, this year becomes that motivation that in 2 years you say, holy cow, now I've done it and I've won because I let that loss motivate me. So love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Always here for you. Let me know if you need anything, and I will see you guys on our podcast episode next week.
Thanks for listening to the Real Estate Survival Guide. If you enjoyed this episode, we would appreciate it if you'd leave us a review on iTunes. It helps others discover the show. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next episode.